Nami and Robin debuted on the English version of One Piece Treasure Cruise on the 28th of June 2020. This character kicked off the 60 million download celebration in the game, which brought along much more engaging events compared to modern day Treasure Cruise, including a dedicated website, bingo events, and even useful free-to-play characters. The summonable characters included in this batch were characters such as Tashigi, Captain's kindness towards children, Lady Alvida, the genius jester's partner, and this batch included 2 Sugo-Fest exclusive characters. Today we'll be covering Nami and Robin, break time for the lovely ladies. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So welcome back to another episode of the Legends of OPTC. It has been a long time coming, and I know that there are a lot of guys here on the YouTube channel, a lot of you guys out there love this series, so we're going to try and bring it back. So hopefully you guys do go on to enjoy the video. Go ahead and give it some support, give it a thumbs up if you guys want to see more episodes of this series. So, without further ado, we're going to be covering on from last episode, which was Sober Mask Legend. We're going to be pivoting now to Nami and Robin. So, Nami and Robin debuted right after the release of Zoro Luffy and also Sober Mask. Continuing on with more Straw Hat related stuff. Of course, a lot of people love this character, mainly just because of the artwork alone. It looks really, really good. So, let's actually break down exactly what this character is doing. This character's got some very interesting abilities. I guess before we do that, let's talk about the rare recruits of the batch. This was a whole female focus batch, so we've got Tashigi here being Int, Slasher, and Cerebral. You'll see that Int and Cerebral and Dex and Cerebral are kind of the themes of this batch. With the Tashigi special ability, let's zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see it. So she would change Strength, Psi, Recovery, and Tandem slots, make them beneficial for Dex and Int characters for 3 turns, and then if your crew has 5 or more characters with Dex or Int slots when you launch the special, you would get a Dex and Int 2.25 times attack boost for 1 turn. Otherwise, you still do get a 2 times attack boost. Not a great special ability. Back when this character first came out, like, not really many people were actively using this character anyway. Yeah, it's a very weird condition to, you know, get the slightly higher attack boost. Wasn't really that big of a deal. You would get a normal attack boost either way. But the main reason why this character would ever be used is because beneficial slots for 3 turns actually could be quite good. If you enter a stage and the enemy inflicts you with a debuff with a preemptive attack that makes certain slots badly matching for your crew, if you, before you enter that room, activate a special such as this, it would negate that ability from activating. So that's the main use case for a character such as this. Moving on though, we'll have a look at the next character, which was Alvida. Now this character actually saw a decent amount of play when she first dropped. This Alvida's not terrible. Dex driven striker. This character is not cerebral focused, which is kind of crazy for the batch. But still, very good character with her special. So, just have a look at this crewmate ability. Reduces special bind duration by 2 turns on Dex and Int characters. Even to this day, I don't even think there's another Sailor ability that does anything similar to this. This is a very powerful Sailor ability. And then it's a multi-stage special. At max special, it will give bind and increased damage taken removal by 5 turns. Of course, this ability, removing increased damage taken, not that valuable considering we have potential abilities that can do that. Not really a big deal. It would reduce enemies' rainbow shield by 5 turns, % damage reduction, and also reduce damage that you take by 80% for 1 turn. And if 3 or more characters are Dex or Int when you launch the special, then you get a 0.8 chain boost for 1 turn. So just an overall great support character to add on to your crew. The great crewmate ability there, removing special bind, and then a special that could remove rainbow shield, remove bind, damage reduction, and also give you a chain boost. So Alvida definitely saw a lot of play comparatively to the Tashigi rare recruit. Now this is also going to be featuring Charlotte Pudding. Now I still haven't really decided if I'm going to make a dedicated video for this character. I probably will. I guess we'll talk about Charlotte Pudding in another video in the next episode. So let's focus in on Nami and Robin. The interesting thing about this batch in general is that both of these Sugo-Fest exclusives brought almost like new mechanics into the game in terms of how they function. So we have Nami and Robin, of course, being a dual character. Most people already know what they do, but let's just go ahead and break it down. The captain ability is not really that interesting, I suppose. It does boost Dex and Int characters, gets an HP and a recovery boost, which is kind of underrated. You get damage reduction in their dual form, and then also makes Dex and Int slots beneficial to Dex and Int characters. And then this was the very interesting ability. When people saw this, they kind of lost their minds, but it says if a Dex or Int character has an empty slot, then it would boost their attack by 6 times instead. Now, while that does seem enticing, you got to remember, if you have an empty slot, it basically counts as having a neutral slot, like having nothing. So it doesn't count as a badly matching slot, but it doesn't count as a matching slot either. So the way that I think that they were trying to intend this to work really well was to just, like, if you have the empty slots, then it just gives you at least a little bit of damage output. You know, a 6 times boost is still pretty good, you know, all things considered, even if you are having neutral slots. And remember, this released way back when. Like, this is a very, very old character, so seeing a 6 times captain ability back in the day was very, very crazy. In terms of the crewmate abilities here, reducing paralysis by 1 turn, always good to have. Dex and Int beneficial to all characters, also very good to have. Now, this switch effect was one of the main reasons why this character was ever used. This character had the very unique ability here, where every time you switch with this character, it would state, if this character has no stored slots, stores current slots, and changes all slots into empty. Okay, so let's just break down that for a second. So what it means is that when you switch, it'll do a check. Do you have stored slots? If you do not, then whatever slots are on your crew, so let's say you have a full board of like Int slots, it would store them onto Nami and Robin, and then all of your slots are changed into empty. So it basically just consumes them all and stores them for later. But then there's the other ability here where it says if this character does have slotted orbs or stored orbs, then it restores those slots onto your crew. So meaning, like, you could switch, keep those Int slots, and then later on in the fight, if the enemy gives you like a full board of block slots, you could activate their switch ability again, and then boom, all of those stored Int slots would come back and replace those Int slots. This is really powerful as well because it does get around like super block slots, even though when this character first came out, super block slots weren't a thing. But the fact that this character does have the capabilities of doing that is one of the reasons why this character like would even see any play today. The special ability as well does give you 25% health cut to one enemy, so it's a damage dealing special. It would also boost the slot effects of Dex and Int characters by 2.5 for 1 turn, which back when this first came out, 2.5 was actually a very significant buff, as well as removing 10 turns of paralysis and combining into their dual form for 3 turns. So Nami and Robin have a lot of good things going for them. They're very difficult to use though, because obviously you don't want to be switching every single turn. You only want to be switching at very key circumstances. So we're going to try and use this character today in some content. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in game and test out Nami and Robin. Okay, so we are in game right now, and we have Nami and Robin ready to go. We got the squad, we got the Alvida, we have the Tashigi, which are going to play very, very key pivotal roles in this team. We also have a couple of other key characters. We've also got this Perona. Now, this Perona came out around the same time period as this entire batch, and it was a really good free-to-play character with a special that essentially dealt with one of the key stages in this Coliseum that we're about to tackle today. So Perona is going to be very key with that support of Roronoa Zoro. Another key point for this team is going to be the Usopp character as a support on Nami and Robin. It's a really cool effect because it allows us to change empty slots into matching whenever the enemy manipulates our slots around, and that's going to be a key point in this content, being able to manipulate slots so that Nami and Robin can basically do what they were designed to do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll explain more as we go along in this content. And we are good to go. Final round versus Sangoro. Man, it feels good to be back in the Legends of OPTC situation here, man. So of course we've got the whole squad set up. We actually will get a full board of Int slots if we activate the switch ability with Nami and Robin, but with the way that the team is kind of set up, we don't really need to worry about it until we get to certain circumstances. But of course, as per usual, we need to get stalling. We need to get our specials ready to go. That is going to be important. So hopefully we're able to do that. So yeah, you know, it's crazy, man, being back after such a long time. And credit to some of you guys out there who have been asking for this series to come back. For those of you who are, You know, if you've joined the YouTube channel over the past, you know, maybe year or so, you may not have known what this series is all about. This is a series that we've done an extensive amount of work on, being able to cover a lot of Sugo-Fest exclusives, kind of discussing how they were on their release. So some of you guys might be wondering exactly what the hell is going on. But yeah, this is going to be a fun series where we get the chance to go ahead and kind of relive some of these characters in their heyday when they first dropped. You guys would have seen just then as well, when we actually recovered with the recovery slot with Nami and Robin, we recovered a lot of HP. Like, if we just eat this recovery slot right here, how many are we getting? 7,300? Like, back in the day, that's kind of crazy, man, for a recovery slot heal. And the thing is as well, is that, like, characters that provided healing mechanics and mass damage reduction were way more valuable back in the early days of Treasure Cruise, because we didn't have characters that just blew bosses away. Like, you actually needed to take your time, sometimes take multiple turns on a boss stage, and that can be rough. And having characters that could heal back a bunch, or just getting through mini bosses, getting to the last stage sometimes could be, you know, a bit of an issue. So anyways, let's see what we got here. We got another stage with just some generic mobs. We actually stalled really well in the previous stage, so we really don't need to do any more stalling here, so we can just go ahead and move on. I'm gonna take another turn here, that's fine. These guys aren't really doing anything. And then we'll go ahead and move on to stage 3. So stage 3 is going to be Neko Mamushi Cat Viper. So this guy, he is the reason why we have the Usopp support attached to our team. So by activating the Usopp effect here, you see that it changes the empty slots that Cat Viper gave us into matching. Now, we're not going to be seeing these slots for a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and activate the switch ability with Nami and Robin. As you can see, when we activated that switch ability, it activated the slot stock mechanic. Bit of a tongue twister there, slot stock. Anyways, you can see that those are the slots that have been saved. We have our int and our dex slots, and they're going to be important later on once we get to the final fight, because on the final fight, if we activate any slot manipulation, the enemy gets really mad at us, so we don't want to be doing that. From this point though, this is why we have Baccarat. So Baccarat is going to be kind of key here, because she will remove the paralysis. She also gives herself a matching slot, and also gives us an orb boost. So this hopefully is enough damage to get through Cat Viper in one turn. If not, then, well, that sucks. It is what it is. We also have a little bit of additional damage here coming in from Alvida. Alvida, we talked about it at the start of the video, but having the ability to remove the Rainbow Shield, it removes Bind, increased damage taken, and also giving us damage reduction and the chain boost. Just an all-round really good character. I think from here we should be able to get through without too many issues. So, alright, let's take him down. Boom, there we go. 3 million damage. Woo woo! 3 million damage, man. And we had to hit all 6, and we had a bunch of specials active, and we only just killed him, man. Man, that's like peak 2020 or even earlier, you know, Treasure Cruise stuff, man. Alright, so we got this guy, Monkey D. Luffy. This guy was the main reason why this Perona was basically used all the time when this Coliseum first came out. So this guy, he just has a lot of annoying effects. So this is why we'll go ahead and use the Perona special ability. Perona just gets around like a lot of stuff here. So by activating her special ability, we can change the block slots. She gets rid of the bind. She gets rid of the defense. Just works out perfectly. Plus we can get a 2.5 times chain lock via the Zoro effect. We do get some special reverse mechanics as well. I completely forgot about the special reverse, so we're going to have to reset and activate another special first. Alright, let's go ahead and do this again. So we're going to activate the Nami and Robin special ability first. Main reason for that is because we want to get that significant orb boosting effect that they provide for the team. Really cool special animation, of course, for these two units too. And of course, it's kind of weird as well. Sometimes they do this where, you know, the artwork doesn't actually fall in line with what the special animation is. Even though it's like the bath time artwork, the special animation is just them in their post-time skip artwork. Kind of crazy that they do that. Now we'll go ahead and activate the Perona special ability, and the special reverse isn't really going to affect us from this point onwards, because it's only one turn of special reverse. Once we kill Luffy, that's going to be fine. So let's go ahead and get the deed done. We do see that he does have an int slot barrier, which is why this type of team, like, this is like the precursor to what we currently have in Treasure Cruise, where it's like you basically run the point boosters. But like back in the day, you know, against like a Coliseum like this, it doesn't matter because there are other characters that could still supplement this, and you didn't have much of an advantage really. If you had the new characters, yes, you get through it a little bit easier, but it just allowed for creativity and not having to worry about, you know, with point boosters and stuff. Much preferred the way that they did the old content, but look, it is what it is. We don't have any control over that. Anyways, enough yapping. Let's actually go ahead and get Luffy down. Let's do this. Nice. It was just enough damage too. That chainlock from Zoro, I think is, I wouldn't say it's required, but it definitely makes a big difference by having that. Alright, so now we're at Sangoro. So as we mentioned a little bit earlier, Sangoro does have a little bit of a stick for, you know, if you activate any slot changer mechanic, he doesn't really like that, right? So he removes your beneficial effects, he has damage threshold, no more attack or type effect boosts because they hurt. Whatever, bro. So we're going to go ahead and activate this ability here from Tashigi. Actually, well, technically speaking, we probably could have got away with doing another effect first, but it's fine. We'll just activate this. We get an attack boost from it, which is obviously what we want. He doesn't really like that, so he does do some slot manipulation stuff, but it's not going to matter because, remember, we have slot stock from Nami and Robin. So that allows us to get those orbs that we saved all the way back on the 3rd stage of the content, and then by activating their special ability, we can provide that orb boost. So we'll have an attack boost, we'll have an orb boost, and we have a significant health cut as well. The health cut that they provide is the 25% health cut, and you may think that, oh no, you know, this is going to be bad because the enemy does have damage threshold. The thing is that the damage threshold isn't as significant as you think. It doesn't actually mention it here, but basically, it only reduces a very small portion of the damage. So with this activated, this should be enough damage to get the dub. So let's get it. Let's get it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There we go. Alright, so we got it done. So Nami and Robin, a really cool character, of course, with that switch ability, being able to generate those slot stock. Very cool effect, and it has seen some niche usages outside of, you know, teams where, you know, they're kind of built for it. Like, there have been some circumstances where that ability has actually been very useful. I believe there was a Grand Voyage where Nami and Robin were actually supposed to be used for. We are not going to save a copy of Sangoro. We are good. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's going to wrap up this episode here of The Legends of OPTC. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video today. And, of course, if you guys want to see more episodes of this series, definitely let me know. If you guys support it enough, we'll obviously, you know, we'll get as many episodes out as we can for this one. Really hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.